solitude, it's exercise, it's thinking about something other than traffic and telephones and bosses and schedules and appointments. And I think the biggest concern that you have on the trail is where you're going to camp for the night.
Springtime in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. It's a place that Phil Hawkins knows well. From the west coast of California to the Carolinas, if there's mountains and wilderness, Phil can find a path through the thick tangles and winding streams, to find lost places, to photograph lost places. Thousands of people around the world know his website for backpackers called YosemiteFun.com, where he directs and advises visitors and tourists to lost places in Yosemite National Park back in California. You might say Yosemite is his home, and the mountains are his soul. Nowadays, though, no matter what mountain range he traces, every step Phil Hawkins takes, there's a nagging, terrifying memory logged in the recesses of his mind. It was a day he'll never quite get over, and it was a day there happened to be a video camera in his backpack.
I was shooting video at my campsite one July 4th weekend.
Phil and his hiking party had barely got unpacked when a bear wandered into camp and grabbed some food. People who spend a lot of time in the wilderness know something like that can signal the beginning of a bad trip.
Common sense dictates that you don't want these bears to become acclimated to associating humans with food. Anytime a bear gets the food, they try to retrieve it.
It's number 19. She's real aggressive.
While Phil Hawkins shoots video, his buddy Tom is attempting to frighten the bear away from the stolen goods. It may seem silly, but a bear that has lost its fear of humans is a dangerous animal.
Well, I was getting a little nervous being around the bear, but little did I know that was not going to be what was going to ruin this trip.
Phil Hawkins knows now that having a bear raiding their camp was probably a bad sign that the 4th of July weekend was going to get worse.
I'm just getting adjusted here. So where are you going, rattlesnake hunting now, you telling me?
By this time, the bear was long gone. Now it was a rattlesnake that had taken up temporary residence in the camp.
People started talking about this rattlesnake curled up, and I didn't pay much attention to it. I figured it was under a log or in some out-of-the-way place where it wouldn't hurt anybody, and then somebody said it was right over there in the middle of everything, and I said, well, let's take a look.
Right here, to the right of the
There he is.
And there were a lot of kids standing around, running around.
You either got to nail him or get rid of him, or leave him alone.
Don't ask me to explain this, but I got the idea that I could move the snake, maybe hurt it, steer it out of the area, but it was not going to do what I wanted it to do, so I said, the heck with it, I'll just pick it up, which I've done many times. I've caught many rattlesnakes.
Now, don't think this is his first rodeo.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome all of you to the Sweetwater JC's Rattlesnake Roundup.
Hawkins has manhandled many a rattler at the grand champion of all rattlesnake events, the Sweetwater Rattlesnake Roundup in West Texas. It is the World Series of Snakes, and Phil knows well the strange, universal fascination people have with deadly snakes. He also knows well the techniques involved with picking up a dangerous snake. But no matter how careful you are, no matter how many snake hunts you've been on, one brief mistake can be costly.
Just seconds after he turned off the video camera and went back to the campsite for something, I had the snake's head pinned down with a long stick this way, and I was going to grab it from behind, and really you should come down from the top and grab it from the very behind, but like a fool, I came in from the side, and when I got down to just about make contact with him, he whipped around and caught me on the left index finger right there on the joint with one fang. Immediately when the snake bit me, I started sucking on the wound.
Okay, bub. Let's see this finger.
It began to hurt. It began about 25 minutes after the bite. It began to hurt real bad and began to
Ooh,
swell.
He nicked you pretty good there.
I can't believe how fast it was swelling and how much it hurt in such a short amount of time.
It's a chilling view captured on home video that chronicles the crucial moments following a rattlesnake bite.
Snake bite plus 35 minutes.
35. This happened at about 20 to 7. It's been about 40 minutes, bub.
About 40 minutes?
About 40 minutes, bub. Let's see what a snake bite looks like after 40 minutes.
And
Wait a minute, bub.
sucked all the damn poison out with my mouth, and now the inside of my mouth feels like I'm going to the dentist.
Like you're high on Novocaine.
Ah, yeah. I swear, it's like I've been swishing with Novocaine. I really honestly thought that I could sweat it out. I didn't really think that it was going to be that bad. But I got this suction deal on here now. I'm supposed to suck it out there. You're supposed to do this for the first hour.
How long you had that leech latched onto your finger like that? That suction kit?
15 minutes.
15 minutes? So we got to keep that on there for a half hour or so, it says?
For
Or
the
2
first
hours?
hour, it says.
Yeah.
Well, for the first hour.
So we think maybe most of the damage will be done the first hour, we're hoping?
Yep. That's probably the worst assessment I've ever come up with, was to think that this wasn't a big deal.
Stay with us as we follow the ordeal of one man's costly decision not to seek help following a bite by a rattlesnake.
Where'd he go?
Rattlesnake right here. The bite of the snake.
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. He's like,
Bub, you either got to nail him or get rid of him, or leave him alone.
Here. Most people's inclination when they see a rattlesnake is to kill it, but in Yosemite it's against the law. I had no choice but to either move it or pick it up and carry it and put it someplace else.
It was a summer backpacking trip to Yosemite National Park that was about to turn ugly for Phil Hawkins.
Since I was a little boy, I've always played with snakes. I've always caught snakes, and when I lived in Texas, I've caught many rattlesnakes. Of course, that was when I was 20 years old and knew a little more about what I was doing. But this time, I guess I got careless, and I'm not as fast as I used to be, and caught the wrong end of the deal.
Okay, Bub. Let's see this finger.
While his best friend shoots video, the venom from a rattlesnake is racing through Phil's veins.
Is it swelling?
A little bit starting to hurt.
Tingle?
It really surprised me, everything that happened after I got bit. I in no way expected the range of maladies that I experienced for 60 days after.
The day that began with a bear raiding his camp has ended up with the wrong end of a rattlesnake. At this point, the biggest mistake Phil Hawkins has made is not going for help. He thinks he can just sweat it out, and it's a costly decision which increases in severity with each passing moment.
Wait a minute, Bub.
Sucked all the damn poison out with my mouth, and now the inside of my mouth feels like I'm going to the dentist.
Like you're high on Novocaine.
Ah, yeah. I swear, it's like I've been swishing with Novocaine. Everybody wants to know how come I didn't immediately go for help, and I've asked myself that question a million times. But the wound itself, keep in mind now, I'd never been bitten by a rattlesnake before, so I didn't have any point of reference, but it didn't look as if it had really punctured. It was a side scratch, it looked like to me, more than a deep puncture wound, but I guess it did get quite a bit in there. And I didn't, having only been bit with one fang, and I was kind of hoping I'd received a dry bite, but when you've got a snake's head pinned down, it's not likely you're going to get a dry bite. And I thought I maybe had sucked it all out, and I thought maybe I could just sweat it out and take some Excedrin and deal with the pain and move on, but guess not. I'll be asking myself that question for the rest of my life, pretty much. A ranger happened to walk by and said, "What's going on here?" And he immediately got on the radio, and a helicopter was there within 10 minutes. I spent 4 days in the hospital, received 21 vials of antivenin. I actually cleaned them out of all that they had.
Phil considers himself lucky that he can still backpack into hidden places in mountain ranges across the country. This forgotten spot near the Appalachian Trail in the Blue Ridge Mountains seems a world away from that dreadful day back in Yosemite National Park. After 4 days in the hospital and $65,000 in medical bills, Hawkins returns home and turns on the video camera again.
This is what my finger looks like 5 days after the bite. I cannot move it. It's about as much as I can move it. It's looking grim. A little dark spot right there was where he got me. That's where he bit me, right there. I wanted to document it for people that might not take a snake bite seriously, that might think that they're as stupid as I was about handling snakes, or carelessly thinking they can deal with a rattlesnake or whatever. My bite was not a severe one, but it was damn well severe for me, I'll tell you that right now. Okay, this is 10 days after the bite, and you can probably see the swelling has gone down some, but it still looks pretty disgusting. The black that you see there is just dead flesh that eventually the doctors say will scab over and will be replaced by healed tissue in about 6 weeks. Skin is starting to crack. It still hurts just as much as it ever has, believe me. On the list of stupid things I've ever done in my life, this is definitely top 5, and not because I was trying to move a rattlesnake, but because I didn't go for help. For that, I'm paying for it for the rest of my life. I've got a finger here that's basically useless. That right there is as much as I can move it. I can't do anything with it. I can't grasp with it. I can't do anything, with it. I seriously thought about having it amputated. It's in the way. It's a dead finger. There's no feeling.
And what about the snake?
Yeah, we killed that rattlesnake. You can be sure of that. No two ways about it. My biggest regret is I didn't cut his rattles off and bring him home. Probably should have done that. The other strange manifestation of this lovely incident are my legs. You can see that rash from all the antibiotics that they dumped into me. I can't work, so it's been hell. And all from one fang from rattlesnake. The doctor said on a scale of 1 to 10, my bite was about a 3 in severity. But I said, if my bite is a 3 on a 10-point scale, I do not want to see an 8.
It was an ordeal that will live with Phil Hawkins forever. Barely a scratch with one fang, and he's left with only partial use of his left hand. His story is a warning for everyone who spends time in the outdoors.
Nowadays, whenever I'm hiking, I'm much more careful about where I step, about where I put my equipment, about how I set up my campsite, because the ramifications of being careless around in snake country is too terrible to contemplate.
To see more on the play-by-play account following a rattlesnake bite, see Phil Hawkins' website, YosemiteFun.com.